Welcome everyone to the ACE RMO 2025 Southland webinar. My name is Sam and I am the ACE RMO consultant. So today we're going to start off with an opening karakia by my colleague Ashwini, and then I will give everyone a brief outline of today's webinar.
Kia ora everyone. Whakataka te hao ki te uru, whakataka te hao ki te tonga, kia mā kina ke uta, kia mā taratara ki tae. E hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, tihe moriora.
So thanks everyone again for taking the time to join today's webinar. It's very dark and grim where I'm sitting in Auckland, so it's the perfect weather to be watching today. As we move onto the panelist introduction shortly, I just wanted to quickly give you a brief outline of what's going to happen with today's webinar. So we'll have a lovely presentation to share with you all that our panelists will present to, and then our RMO representatives will tell you a bit more about the experiences working at Southland Hospital. Towards the end of the webinar, there will be a live Q&A session. And then finally, we'll close off with a closing karakia. So just a reminder to our participants that are joining, all questions can be dropped in the Q&A box above. You can drop the questions in this box throughout the webinar, but we will only answer these towards the end of the session. So please, if you have any burning questions, please feel free to pop them into the box.
I will start. I am Annelle Swartz. I'm the RMO Unit Recruitment Coordinator based here in Southland.
Hi, I'm Ange Perry. I'm an RMO Advisor.
Hey, I'm Anthony Battle. I'm an ED consultant. I'm the Clinical Director of ED and I'm one of the pre-vocational supervisors.
Hi, I'm Scott Calendar. I'm one of the PGY2 house officers here.
Ryan Faganelli, one of the EDSMOs and also a pre-vocational supervisor.
Thank you so much. And we really do value your time. So we really appreciate you being here today and sharing this information with us.
Thank you, Sam. So yes, everyone, welcome to the Southland Hospital ACE webinar. We're going to start off with telling you a bit more about Southland Hospital. So we have a great work-life balance here in Southland. You will enjoy a clinically challenging, training-focused and rewarding job combined with a relaxed and satisfying lifestyle. Southland Hospital is small and intimate enough for new arrivals, and you will quickly get to know everyone you work with, everyone at the cafe, all your patients, so it's quite close-knit. There's fantastic opportunities for a broad range of cases for those starting off their career here in Southland as well. So living here in Invercargill, so lots of fun things to do, especially if you're an outdoorsy person. So we have, within 10-20 minutes, you can be anywhere. You can be going on bike rides out at Sandy Point. You can go to our beautiful Queen's Park. And the beach is pretty close by as well. So if you're into surfing, go there. So lots of fun stuff to do in and around Invercargill. And then also not too far away, we have Queenstown. You can hop on a boat towards Stewart Island. And we have the Catlins and the Fiordlands close by as well. Ange will tell us a bit more just about the role here in Southland.
As Annelle was saying, we've got a good broad experience here in Invercargill. The PGY runs consist of general medicine, general surgery, orthopaedics, AT&R rehab, which you can do after 6 months. The PGY2 run consists of all of the above, plus O&G, PEDS, ED, all for 6 months, psychiatry, ED, also 6 months. And then we have community-based attachments. At the moment, those are based in Gore, and we do have one in Queenstown as well. And then we have the reliever positions. PGY1 doctors are not rostered for the first on nights for the first 6 months. They will be rostered to work across approximately 3 weekends per quarter and 1 long day a week. There's regular protected teaching takes place each week on a Wednesday and a Thursday for an hour. And while you're in that teaching, the RMO unit will take care of your pages so you can enjoy.
Yeah, and just for some career options, if you do choose to stay on, there's quite a few options available. We have trainees in anesthesia, gen med, general surgery, orthopedics, ONG, peds, ED. So there's quite a bit of a selection if you do choose to stay on here as well. And then just the support we have here. So we have our pre-vocational education supervisors are always available to support you guys. Catherine Forward, medical director as well, our RMO unit team. Yeah, we're based here in the hospital, so you can always just pop up into the RMO unit if you want to have a chat. So lots of support, as you can see. And then Ange was saying about the community-based attachments, which is great. There's also one big thing for Southland is the holiday homes. You'll see there's Queenstown, Arrowtown, Te Anau, and yeah, it's really great. Cheap and cheerful, easy to book. So that's quite a bit of a benefit here at Southland. And then, yeah, we've got a state-of-the-art simulation and learning centre, which you'll be able to use as well. And then going into making an application, we would like you to give us a cover letter. So your cover letter should outline why you want to be at Southland. You can include things like if you have family here, friends, maybe if you enjoy the outdoors, what you want to do here in Southland. That'll be great to know. And also with your referees, please choose them carefully. Just look at your referees, that it's a current reference, and just kind of choose different areas that you've worked in as well. It'll be great to see. And then, yeah, please make contact with us. If you do want to get in touch with us, we're happy to have a chat. We already had some applicants make contact, which is great. We'd love to hear from you. So just get in touch with the RMO unit. It'll be great. And then if you do have a delayed start, let us know as well. Because I know it's not possible for everyone to start, though we want you to start in January. So let us know if there's a delayed start at all. And then we do have 10 positions available for next year. All right, so we're going to hand over to Scott now, and he's going to tell you how life is as a house officer.
Yeah, so as was said, as a first year house officer, you can do runs in general medicine, general surgery, orthopedics, and then the 18R, which is rehab, in the last 6 months of the year. For orthopedics and general surgery, your day normally starts around 7:30, and general medicine is 8 o'clock. And then if you're on a regular working day, you normally finish up around 4:15, 4:30. Which is quite good compared to some of the other centres that we've had exposure to down here. On the general medicine, it is very general, so there's no subspecialties on site. So when you go around and see your patients, you'll be seeing a variety of patients who in a larger centre may be admitted under the different subspecialties. So you'll see oncology patients and haematology patients, and then go see patients with cardiology complaints and endocrinology complaints, and it's a very good learning place for a wide range of medical conditions and management of those. The general medicine department is also very sort of consultant led, so there's often at least sort of 3 or 4 times a week you'll do ward rounds with the consultants, and other times it's a registrar, but that just means that the consultants are around a lot more as a learning opportunity for you, and able to impart a lot more knowledge just with the contact that you have with them. And then for general medicine, if you're on a long day, it's a 4 to 8 p.m. shift, and you go to ED and you admit some patients to the ward. And again, it's a really good opportunity to see your patients and practice your history taking exam skills. And you're with the medical registrar in the evening doing that. And then you do sort of once or twice on your run of medicine, you'll do a week of swing shifts in the afternoon, and that covers the long day on the wards through to 11 p.m. On orthopedics, again, a very sort of wide variety of what you see. We're the catchment area for the Queenstown area. So during winter, we get all the ski field injuries, and during summer, we get all the mountain biking injuries from particularly a lot of tourists and adventure orientated people. So that's is really quite interesting from the orthopedic trauma perspective. There's some of the orthopedic surgeons are very interested in things like arthroplasty and prosthetic joint infections and revision arthroplasty. So that can be a bit more complex and interesting there. And there's one of the orthopedic surgeons has an interest in like pelvic surgery and pediatric surgery. So again, you get quite a wide variety of what you'd see day to day with your orthopedic patients. And then surgery, you have the general surgery patients you'll get anywhere, and then oftentimes there are visiting surgeons in subspecialties like plastics or ENT, so you do still get a little bit of exposure there to ENT and plastics patients that come through. Some of the general surgeons do upper GI surgery or breast and endocrine surgery as well as colorectal, so again, a very wide mix of what you see. On all of the wards, like they're quite small teams. So on surgery, you might have 4 house officers doing surgery at once. On medicine, you might have 7 or 8 doing medicine at once. And then the wards are about 40 patients each, which means the nursing staff, there might only be 10 or 12 on a shift. And so it gives you a really good opportunity to get to know both the medical team, but also the nursing teams and the MDT teams very quickly, and actually have a bit more of a personal connection to them compared to in a larger centre where you might have your patients spread across 4 or 5 different wards. As you progress through and go through to second year, you get opportunity to do 6 months runs in paediatrics or O&G and ED. I'm currently doing ED as a run, and it's again a very great learning environment to see such a wide variety of presentations, and again with a very supportive environment with lots of learning opportunities. I can't speak for paediatrics or O&G purely because I haven't done them, but my understanding from people who have is that again it's very good department to learn in, and you get a lot of exposure to trying procedures and different presentations in a very supportive working environment with more senior colleagues. And then your community sort of runs through Gore and at the moment Queenstown or Relief runs. Outside of work, because you can pretty much always get out of here from like 4:15, 4:30 on a day, within half an hour you can be out mountain biking or out at the beach surfing, or there's a few sort of tramping trails or trail runs around town. Or go through Queen's Park, which is in the middle of town, and go for a walk through there. Really a lot you can get into the day after work.
Thank you so much. So while we prepare for any questions, as I mentioned, please pop them in the Q&A box if there was anything that wasn't discussed today that you have any burning questions. While we do that, I'm going to share a link with some lovely visuals of Southland. We did have a question here. What's Invercargill's RCU HDU capacity? Would there be opportunities to train in that space?
I can answer that. So currently there's no formal training position in the ICU or CCU. It's around about 6 beds and they can function as an ICU. They will often transfer the very sick patients or unwell paediatric patients out, but we are looking to start up a house officer or registrar position in the future in the sort of next year or 2, but currently it is SMO led or registrar anaesthetics led out of hours.
Second question that came through, do you have a good program for getting new house officers up to speed in their first few weeks or months?
In the emergency department, I'm in the process of building one with one of our registrars right now. We want to have a pretty intensive training period at the beginning to really get people comfortable in the space. It can be overwhelming depending on what you did before you started in emergency medicine. And we don't want people to feel overwhelmed. We want them to feel like they have the basics and they're not scared when they go on to shift. It's not fully built yet, but it will be soon. And so at least for emergency medicine, we hope to have that soon. And then I suppose for the hospital, I believe we have one. But I am a new pre-vocational supervisor, like a week in, so I can't speak with a lot of.
Yeah, so in your orientation, which is the first week, you go through all of like the online systems, Health Connect South, MedChart, how to make referrals, and you get an intro and orientation to all of the community supports that are available. And then you do, in that first orientation week, they buddy you up with one of the current PGY ones who are moving on to PGY 2, and you shadow them for, there's one where you shadow them for a long day, either on the ward or admitting an ED. And there's one where you shadow them for the whole day on the ward so basically each team has 2 house officers for that last day of your orientation. And then the registrars and consultants are all very understanding that you're new and that you're still learning things, and so they're very patient and understanding and teach you those future things over those first couple of weeks whilst you get to grips with how the hospital works and writing the ward round notes and who to ask for certain things and all that sort of stuff. And the nursing staff on the wards are also very, very good with helping for those sorts of questions around where is this, or who do I ask for that, or how do I refer for this.
There's definitely a big focus, not on necessarily getting a ton of clinical work done. A lot of it is learning how to do it right. Teaching is a big focus early on.
We have a few questions coming through. So the next one, what sort of things are covered in the Queenstown Gore runs?
Or GP run, right?
Yeah, it depends which one it is, but the CVAs are basically either at the GP practice at those medical centres, or they can be working in the ED, which is a very sort of smallish EDs, or and they cover the medical wards as well, depending. So Gore and Queenstown are quite similar in terms of they've got a small ED, a small inpatient unit of sort of a dozen beds. And then they've also got a GP clinic attached, and depending, my understanding is you can get specifically put in one of those areas, but quite often they jump around. Is it? Yeah, so my understanding is you can rotate through the areas depending. In Gore, you definitely do, and in Queenstown, I think you can either get allocated as just a GP practice or in the hospital itself.
Next question, what is the best way to get in touch with the RMO unit?
Yeah, so the best way is to click us an email, contact us by phone. We're quite happy to have a chat as well by Teams. So the RMO unit, it'll just be my email address. So it'll be anel.swartz@southlanddhb.govt.nz. So I think we will have the details on our information sheet. So please feel free to, get in touch with me.
Feel free to call as well, because I think we get a lot of emails, and so often we can talk through a lot of issues and questions and things on the phone. So happy to be rung Monday to Friday in hours.
Thank you. And just to add to that, as Anil said, there is an employer information sheet that is available on the ACE RMO website that will also have all the contact details and email addresses. And it's got quite a bit of good information there for everyone to refer to. So you can hop on over to ACE RMO website to find that. What's the social life of RMOs? Is there like a social club or out of work activities with colleagues?
Yeah, so each year group tends to sort of find their own rhythm, and then across the hospital, we do sort of a quiz night on a Wednesday night at one of the pubs, and then there's often like a sort of an after works drinks on a Thursdays, yeah. And then oftentimes a lot of the RMOs have quite similar hobbies. So like a few of them have all quite enjoy sort of mountain biking and rock climbing, so they'll organise to go out. And as new people come in who say, oh, I enjoy rock climbing as well, they'll sort of go out with them as well. Or a few will go out like tramping together on weekends. And then once you start doing night shifts, there's a post-nights brunch with all the people who've done nights, so either a Friday morning or a Monday morning, go out and have brunch and a bit of a social and a debrief and chat a bit of shit about what's happened and then go home and try and recover from your night shifts.
So one of the very hot questions was, what are the food options like at the hospital?
Oh, incredible.
There's a cafeteria on site, and they do sort of one or two hot options for lunch and dinner, and then there's a heap of cabinet food with like the St. Pierre's sushi and bread rolls and sandwiches and that sort of stuff for your mains, and then like the section of like fruits and yogurts and drinks and such as well.
And it also has dietary requirements, so for those that are gluten-free or vegetarian.
Yeah, because it's a relatively small hospital, the cafe staff know pretty quick if you've got dietaries, and so they usually just keep something aside for you, unless there's a dedicated like vegetarian meal or something. But there's always some sort of like gluten-free sandwiches or veggie hot option or something as well.
Another question that has come through quite a few times within the webinars is around accommodation. So it's lovely to hear that there's an opportunity to rent some accommodation for holidays. What other tips could you give for new PGY1s coming into the area? Is accommodation easy to find? What are relatively the average accommodation costs that they can expect to pay?
I think we have some of the lowest housing costs in the country still.
There's a few doctors who've been here and left, who've bought houses and now sort of rent out to other RMOs who come through town, and sort of rents anywhere from sort of $150 to $200 a week, depending on how many people are in your house. Quite a few doctors who are here for more than sort of a year or two end up buying a house, because you can buy sort of a 3-bedroom house for $400,000 or $500,000. And then your mortgage repayments aren't actually that much more than what you'd be paying in rent as well. So very, very affordable to rent and to buy. And there are a lot of doctors who do rent out to other doctors. So no one seems to struggle with finding accommodation when they come to town. Yeah.
Quite often there's a few flats that are made up of doctors, and they'll move on. A couple will move on and a couple will stay on, and we just sort of introduce each other. Yeah.
We had another question that was dropped in the Dropbox. Is it usually quite competitive to get a PGY1 position?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Definitely, like I said in that cover letter, sell yourself. We want to know all about you. Let us know why you want to be here, what your interests are. So yeah, definitely, fight for your position, I would say.
I think most of the SMOs here think this is one of the best places to practice medicine. And I think that shows in how happy they are and how much they love to teach. And I hope it is one of the best places to be a house officer.
We've got a really high demand for a lot of the PGY2 positions in like emergency medicine and O&G, and they definitely go to the PGY1s who've been here as a priority.
Our size is perfect. You get to know everybody. After a year or two, you get to know actually how all the patients are connected to in the town, because the city itself, it's over 60,000, but you somehow start to meet everybody. And so it's large enough to be busy and to be interesting, but it's small enough that you get to kind of learn who everybody is, meet everybody, and sort of feels like a small town.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier as well is, like, when you're going your day-to-day business, you'll finish ward rounds like well before lunch, particularly if you're on surge. And you have a lot of time in the day to look stuff up, to learn stuff, but also to go and do procedures. So oftentimes there'll be someone getting a chest drain or a lumbar puncture on the medical ward, or you can sneak away to theatre for a couple of hours if you're on the surgical ward or doing orthopedics. And, you can be first or second year and learning or putting in chest drains and doing, like I did a hip relocation earlier this week and doing nerve blocks and ring blocks. Very much more hands-on compared to what you get in a big centre with a lot of patients and a lot of administrative demand that's associated with that. It's, a lot more hands-on here.
I'll finish off with one more question. Do you have any more information that you can share with regards to the orientation week?
So there's you get orientation or talks and presentations from a lot of the variety of different services. So there's like community district nursing and physiotherapists and stuff, and they come and talk to you. I think the team at the hospice, which is located on the same site as the hospital, come and talk to you. Some of the like infection control and IV specialist nurses come and talk to you about how to organise things like PIC lines or infection prevention control. Some of the consultants come and talk to you, obviously, about what to expect from the runs. You go through and you learn how to do your electronic prescribing on MedChart, which is really helpful, and then how to use the Health Connect health system, which is the South Island patient database for your labs and patient notes and all that sort of stuff.
And you get department-specific orientation too.
Yeah. So if you're starting on medicine, you go to the medicine for a day and you get a bit of an orientation there. Same with surgery and orthopedics. You get some there's like the PAR team, which is like the a layer of nursing resource that help respond to unwell patients and clinical emergencies and stuff, and they come and talk to you about what they offer. And some of it really does set you up quite well for what to expect when you step foot on the ward.
That's great, thank you. I did say one last question, but we've just got two more that's come through. So what's the support like over night shifts?
It's pretty good. So on site overnight, you have one house officer covering the medical, surgical and rehab wards, and then a medical registrar who is usually an ED admitting patients, but is obviously available to come to the wards. ED's got a registrar and a house officer and a consultant on call. The surgeon ortho regs are on call, but often the surge reg is still here by 11 o'clock or midnight. And I think there's anaesthetics is technically on call, but they usually end up being on site. And then
so they have an on-call ESMO, but they've got an on-site senior reg all the time. Yeah.
And then obstetrics and paediatrics both have an RMO on site as well, and again with consultants on call. So yeah, there's very seldom problems that can't be worked out overnight. If you're struggling on the ward, it's a very quick call to the med reg or to the surgical reg or the ortho reg, and they're all very happy to be contacted if you've got any concerns. So it's all pretty good.
We're often an overnight. It's just we're pretty hands-on involved.
We got formal criteria for when we have to get called in, but also just whenever anyone is really sick and the team is really worried and is wondering if they're missing something, we want to be notified. We want to be there with them.
And the last one, I think, is does doing TI at Q help one's chances of getting a PGY1 position, maybe being ranked?
Probably yes. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to say no. I think if you come and you show us you're good, then you're going to get a job for sure.
In saying that, it doesn't like you don't have to have done placements here. I think in my year group, none of us had done placements here before, and we didn't feel disadvantaged having not done that.
Yeah, we're happy to have people come as a TI if they can, and if they've got experience elsewhere, that's totally fine as well.
Thank you. So let me just double check. We encourage as many questions, so please feel free to continue asking if you have any burning questions. I'm just making sure that I've covered off everyone's. Looks like I have. So if our participants that are joining, if there has been any questions that you haven't managed to get through to us, please feel free to contact Anil at the RMO unit directly. If it's any questions around the ACE process as such, you're more than welcome to contact me directly. You can call me or email me. All my details are available on the ACE RMO website. Another tip is to keep in touch with our Facebook page. There's a lot of information that does get shared and circulated there, some tips and so on. And if there is nothing else that you Southland team would like to share, then I'll call Ash to close us off with a karakia. Thank you so much again for joining and for sharing your time with everyone today. It's been really valuable and very informative.
Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa po namu te moana. He huarahi ma tātou I te rangi nei. Aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou ia tātou katoa. Hoye tai kie.
Thanks, Ash, and thanks, team. I hope you all have a lovely evening, and I hope that our participants enjoyed that information session. What will happen from here is that the recording of this webinar will be posted onto our YouTube channel, so those that weren't able to attend today will be able to watch it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.